Well, here we are, right at the start of another round 3 match in this year's VP4 Cowboy World Championship, and it's between Romario and Acero. Romario winning the lag, a race to 3, and it should, I'm expecting a pretty good game between these two. And Romario doesn't like to hang about. We should know that by now. He likes to get on with it. Acero just turning up a few minutes late, but I think there was like a 10 or a 15 minute timeout in the match. And Romario has hung up the 3 and his visit ends in only 10. And he needs to remember that these are tight pockets, so there's not a lot of give if you send him to the jaws. So Acero's response immediately is 9 points on the board already. We are streaming live to 5 different sources: YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, Mixer and Smashcast. I think this could be a pretty close match. And let's have a quick look at how this will turn out, because there are 2 matches scheduled. There's a match between Baker Maker and myself tomorrow night at 7:30 GMT, and this match that's on at the moment. So the winners of this match that we're watching and the one tomorrow night will both play one another in round 4. And Acero is reading those pocket angles a wee bit more difficult, but I think both players will settle down once I've had a few shots. Both players presumably just coming in cold. Romario certainly wasn't practicing. So first 2 visits, only 10 points and 12 points respectively from both players. But if somebody's going to get control of the rack, they're going to have to put something a bit more substantial together to try and get to that first major goal, get to 90. Easy carom from the 5 to the 1. Romario fancies the 3. Actually not a bad shot, because he's kicked in behind the 3 to get it out into play. And looking at the ratings, you would have Romario as a strong favourite, over 2,100 in the rating. But as has been proved, ratings don't mean an awful lot in Cowboy. But Romario on 21, danger there, almost scratched, but he's got away with it. And already he's rapidly adding to his score. And he's going to have to dig in a stun there to make the carom. And now he's out of shape. He's going to have to make one. This time there's nothing set here. And he tried drawing off the 1 to the 5, so the visit ends on 29 and he has a 27 point lead. Acero looking to make some more substantial response here to keep himself in the rack. The objective's always to get rid of that deficit when you come to the table and try and make sure that you've got yourself a lead, but Acero has had a bad miss there and he could pay the price for that. A non-scoring visit in Cowboy, especially in the first phase, is not good because it gives your opponent a start to build on that lead. And this 3 ball's going to track in as well. So once again, Romario has the chance to capitalise on that miss by Acero. Little force follow from the 3 to the 5. Now he's going to have to make a pot because again there's nothing easy, but he can cut the 3, he can cut the 5. And he will have the carom, thin carom from the 5 to the 3. And once again he's going to have to make another pot. Balls aren't lying perfect here. Unsure whether to cut the 1 or cut the 5. And once again he's going to have to produce another shot. He can play the carom from the side rail into the 1. Well, he's played the force follow, picked that out well, because they're not easy to judge, especially when you're playing over a longer distance between the 2 balls. And already Romario has added another 31 points in this visit. And now has a big lead and is odds-on favourite to get to 90. And this time he misses the carom. Well, now Acero simply has to make a contribution here. Big deficit to make up. And he now should be focused on the job in hand, but straight away he's got no easy carom again. He's going to have to manufacture it. And again he hasn't made it, and it's only a contribution of 1, and that won't get the job done. And Romario should be into the caroms with this contribution. Get the 5 back onto its spot. Bring that cue ball across if he can. And now he has the choice. He can play the 3 to the 1, the 5 to the 1. And he also needs to keep an eye on that scoreboard and not lose track of where he is, because that's the other mistake that we most commonly make in Cowboy. He's on 86 and he misses the 3. And Acero, with only 13 points on the board, has to score. And that is not ideal either, to make his carom. And 1 ball's nudged the 5 out the way, and I don't think the cue ball was going to get to the 5 anyway. So it's another paltry contribution by Acero, only 3 points, and that won't get him anywhere further in this tournament unless he ups his game. And he's more or less locked himself out in this first rack. Barely 10 minutes into the match, and already Romario is looking for the carom that will take him into the carom phase between 90 and 100. So now it's caroms all the way to 100. Little stun down and behind the 5. Now he has to produce one. There's nothing set. I'll be back in a minute. Right, I'm back. Had a phone call. Now where are we? Romario is on 93, and finally we have a contribution from Acero. The run is on 45, and he doesn't want to scratch here after all the effort he's put in to get this far. And has to be careful with this one. Doesn't want to skim off that 3. The run is on 50, and he's missed a carom. Well, it's not quite got him back into the first rack, but it's a lot better looking than what it was 5 minutes ago. I still think that was a nice run, even if Romario didn't. But Romario now sitting on 96, a 30-point lead. Well, he can manufacture a carom and stun across from the 1 to the 3. He's looking to chip off the 3 across to the 1. And that's a good little shot. Not easy shots to judge, especially the contact on that 3 ball. You can always get it too thin or too thick. Oh, well, the cue ball was coming around the corner and missing the 3 anyway, but the double kiss there onto that 1 almost got him out of jail. But the run of caroms ends on 5. He's on 98. Acero has a chance to get into the caroms here. And just clipped to 1. Well, this isn't going to help him with these 2 balls stuck in the rail. Going to have to get that 1 into play sooner rather than later if he can. But he's on 81, so he needs to now be aware of the score. And that brush on the 5 has put it into play. Nice, easy, straight pot in the 5. And he could try and nudge the 1 out here. Well, he didn't hit it enough to get there. He could have done with a little extra carom onto that 1, because he's now on 87. And the fatal error is he's potted the 5. And the run is wasted. He's lost his points. And that is just, you have to be careful with the pot and the 5. And I don't know whether he paid much attention to it, but his effort is all in vain. He's lost his points. And Romario on 99. And now looking to slide off that 1 down into the corner for the first rack. And in it goes. So, a rack that has probably taken less than 20 minutes. And Romario is off and running and leads by 1-0. Acero breaking off in rack number 2, and he needs a good start here. But that was a careless shot, making that that carom from the 5 to the 3 and potting the 5. And he's got to drop down to this bottom end of the table here. Doesn't want it to go too far. Now can he push the 5 past the 3? Plenty of room. And every time you play that shot, you're looking just to bank the 5 up the table towards the pocket. At least it gives you your next shot. And now he should stay the bottom side here. Again, to give him the carom from the 1 to the 5. And if he brushes the 1 to the side rail, he's given a choice of 2 pots, either the 5 or the 1. But he's got to work the cue ball to put himself in position for the next carom. That's what you've always got to be thinking about. Now, has he got the force follow here? I think he's dead straight. Yeah, that won't work. He's trying to come off the rail, and he's got lucky. 5 kissed into the 1, pushed it towards the cue ball, but they all count. Now, can he keep these points? The run is on 27. The 1 will spot, and, well, I almost thought about hanging up there, but he's okay. And that 1 will bounce, and he can get it back on the spot, and he'll have another fairly easy carom from the 1 to the 5. And now he's got a problem, because there's no easy pot, and he's already had a go at a couple of long cuts into these corner pockets, and he's missed them so far. Could do with pulling out 1 right now to keep this run going. And he's overcut it. You've got to be accurate, because they are tight, and the run ends on 31. And now Romario has an easy starter, but he's wondering where his carom's coming from when he pots this 3. Well, it's going to be 5 to the 1. Now he's out of line here again. Has to get that cue ball out from there. And he looks as if he's going to be playing the draw shot. Pot the 5, draw to the... pot the 3, draw to the 5. And there's no doubt that Romario is a potential winner of this tournament. He does score, he doesn't hang about, but in playing as quick as he usually does, it always leaves that opportunity to make mistakes. But he's been okay so far. There's been no real unforced errors, and that's why he's already got a 1-0 lead. His response to Acero's 31 goes to 22. And this is the thing, a lot of people at the beginning of this tournament were saying that a race to 3 was too long. Well, it's not the deeper you go into the tournament, because when you get 2 players that can score, the racks can go fairly quickly. The first rack, barely 20 minutes. And Romario's run has ended on 25, so he's still trailing Acero. And it's so important for Acero to get to that 91st, especially at now trailing 1-0, but that's another contribution of 0, and that's not helping his situation. A fairly straightforward force follow, 5 onto the 3. Well, if he goes over to the left-hand side here, which the cue ball will want to do, he can at least have a possible carom. He's actually possibly gone a wee bit too far. So it's now going to be the 5-3. It's going to be a wee bit more of a struggle here as long as the 3 ball stays on that top rail and the ones on the left hand side. He needs to get them more into play. Now, can he get that thin enough off the 5? He doesn't fancy it. Yeah, that just caught the knuckle. Had it missed the knuckle, he probably would have made the carom. So Romario's contribution is 12. He's tied the score at 37 all. And this time acero should be potting the 3 and stay in the top side and give him a choice of caroms if he can. Well, this is not going to be easy, this one. It's not an easy one to judge. He could try the 2 in one shot off the 1 over to the right rail to hit the 5. If he misses the 5, he might hit the 3, but that's one option. And he's going to scratch. Whenever you start running the cue ball, you're always taking that risk. And so it's another visit from acero that scores him 0. And that's just playing into the hands of Romario, because he'll build up the score as quick as he can. Choice 1 to the 5, 5 to the 3, but he's got it too thin. So surely this time acero has to again make this contribution to give himself a lead. He doesn't want to be chasing his tail all the way through this match. And he should be okay from the 5 to the 1. He can go to the rail first and kick into the 1, or he can just go direct. But has he got a pot? Yes, he has. Well, I think he should be following right through on this 5. And that's a poor one. He's missed a pot in the 5, and it's only a contribution of 6. So this is where acero is failing at the moment. He's had one decent contribution, that run of 50 in the first rack, that sort of tried to get himself back into the first rack, but that's really it. All the rest of them have really been nothing, and he then lost a contribution of 20 odd when he potted that 5 ball. And this time Romario will get the 3 on the spot, and he should have the carom from the 5 to the 3. He's maybe gone a bit too far for comfort here. And coming across the table, he's now pushed the 3 safe. And the thin cut in the 5 has hung up, and it's a reprieve for acero. Romario's run only 10 points. So acero now, having potted the 5 and drawn to the 3, has an open table, but the 3's now blocking the 5. And he's going to have to play the carom. Well, he's got the pot though, with the open table. He's going to have to roll this one in. Finishing the bottom end of the table here, that will give him a choice. Doesn't need to work the cue ball too much. The choice is from the 1 to the 5 or from the 5 to the 3, whatever he's happy with. Now once again, he's run out of shape here. He's going to have to pull out a pot. Can he get to the 5? Looks as if he can. Well, the visit goes to 29, and Acero, provided he can keep these points, is building up a lead. Well, the force follow from the 3 to the 5, and if he misses it, he might just run on to that 1. Now, has that counted, or has he skimmed past it? He skimmed past it, and the run ends on 34, and the lead is 19. And Romario checking that cue ball off the 2 rails with inside left English just to straighten it up. And now, well, the 1's over the corner pocket. He's taking the straight 5 and coming back to leave the 5-3 carom. But it's at distance. Well, this time the 5 coming down into the kitchen, so he's got to pot the 1 to get it into play. And again, it should leave him an easy carom, as long as that cue ball holds up. Well, that is not ideal. Trying to come in with inside English to check back, but that was trying to create an angle that was never there. And so Romario's visit ends. Still trailing by 3, and surely this time Acero should get to 90. Well, he's got the open table. Well, this time I would be cutting that 3 to get it into play. The 3 ball is much better if it's on its spot, because he's now going to have to work around this 1 and 5 here. The 1 has gone in, 5 hanging open now. He's got a chance. He's got a chance to pot the 5 and break on the 3 here as well. Well, he's looking at the 1, but why he's not playing the 5, the pot and the 5 and the carom to the 3, I don't know. That's the one he should be playing. it's more than obvious that he can pot the 5 and carom into the 3 and just get it into play. Well, he's only caught the edge of it. Hasn't really improved the situation. But he has a simple carom from the 1 to the 5, but if he hits the 5 full in the face, he's going to push it up towards the 3. This time, he should pot the 3, because the cue ball will come down the table and give him a choice of caroms. He seems to be more interested in this 1 ball. Now it's got to be the 5-3 and hit this with a wee bit of pace just to get the 3 ball out of there. Well, he's just playing it gentle. Well, I don't think he's got much choice now other than pot the 3. Well, mind you, I'm forgetting he's already on the caroms. Oh dear, disaster again. In trying to make the carom from the 3 to the 5, he's banked to 3 and lost his points again. And that could be fatal. I didn't realise he was into the caroms there until I had a quick glance when he was on 91. And they've all gone. He's back to 77. And this is Romario's chance to get to 90 before acero and build up that score. Oh, he's going to scratch. Well, there's a lifeline, a reprieve for acero. Romario has scratched. And acero is coming to the table still with a lead. It's only 3 points. But he's got to be careful here with this one. He's probably going to play the 5 to the 1. 5 to the 3 is dangerous. If he hits the 5 to the 1 too hard, it's also dangerous of scratching, but gets it nice and gentle. And now, well, that 5 ball can drop into the middle, but he can also cut the 3 down the rail. And he's sent the 5 to the jaw. These pockets are tight, if that's the proof you need. So it's just a contribution of 6 this time from acero, and he can't say he hasn't had his chances. He should be well into the caroms by now. And Romario has scratched straight in the middle, potting that 5 ball, and it's another reprieve for acero. And surely this time he's got to make it to 90. He only needs 7 points. 5 of them are going to go right now with that 5 ball. Well, it's got to be the 5-3, surely. He's played the stunt. But again, the cue ball running. No real idea where it was going to end up. Now he's on 90, and the force following the 3 through to the 5. And he's missed it. It's another one that's got away. But he is, this time, keeping his points. It's only 7 points, but it gets him into the carom phase. question is whether he will still have a lead in this rack by the time Romario's finished with this visit. And that 3 ball was threatening to go in, but it's hung up, and Romario will get rid of that quickly, get it back into play. Well, he's got a choice of pots, either the 5 or the 1. And it will be off the side rail. Oh no, he's managed to get it direct. Could have played it off the side rail into the back of the 1. And Romario is now in the lead on the caroms. And now he has to make one. There is nothing dead set here. He could try drawing off the 3. And he spun into the back of the 1. And now he's set up another easy one from the 5 to the 3. Well, this time he's going to have to use the rails, because all the balls are in opposite corners to one another. The run is on 21. And the run ends. Where's the cue ball going? And the run has gone. He's lost his points. After all that hard work, all those caroms, he's back to 71. And now Acero has a chance. Now, is that 1 ball out the kitchen? Yes, it is. And he'll be pushing the 1 up the table towards that 3 ball. And he wants to try and get a couple of balls fairly close to one another. Well, that's not very close. And now he has to be careful if he's going to try and spin into that 3 ball. Yeah, he didn't get that right at all. And Romario coming to the table, where Acero's only scored 1 point on that visit again. And meanwhile, Romario is back to square 1, trying to get to the 90. Well, he's got nothing easy here. He could chip off the edge of that 3 and spin the cue ball. He's trying to go off the side rail into the 1, and once again the knuckle has done him. And again, Acero has not picked a line to chip that 3 ball, and it's another no scoring visit. Romario now on to 81, trailing by 10. Well, either of these 2 shots are dangerous. Playing the carom to the 5. Doesn't want to pot the 5 like that. Oh, I'm forgetting this Romario is at the table. Romario's okay. He can pot the 5 because he's still short of 90. I get so carried away watching these shots getting lined up and forgetting who's at the table. But Romario, well, he's managed to manufacture a shot there. The 1 has gone in. He's now in 89. He has the carom, and it's the force follow. So now it's anybody's game. Now obviously, for Acero's sake, he has to make something if he gets a shot. Well, Romario well off the mark with that one. And he's left nothing easy for Acero. Well, once again, Acero is going to try maybe running from that 5 and stunning across to the 3. He's missed it on 2 attempts so far that I think he's not very keen on it. But he's going to have to pull something off here to get in. And that's a nice little shot. He can play a gentle one from the 5 to the 3, but again it's dangerous because he's only ever going to help that 3 ball towards the pocket, and he doesn't like it. And he's played that well with inside right. English chipped it off the rail, and he's got the 5 and 1. Now can he work with a 5 and 1 and maybe get another 2 and 3 caroms here? Well, that cue ball's finished dead on the 1. And that's made it very difficult. Well, he's got the 4-point lead, and that's a nice, delicate little shot with spin off the rail. Cannot afford to throw these away. He has to keep these. And where the balls are sitting, he might as well just push a ball to a rail if he can and just keep the points and bide his time. That would be the safest thing to do, and try and leave the table awkward for Romario. Well, he's looking to go with right spin off the edge of this 3. A danger of that right middle pocket here. Yeah. He'll accept that, because although it's got nowhere near the carom, at least he's kept his points, which is the main objective. So he's got a 5 carom lead. Romario's got no easy starter. But once again, he's way short, trying to play it dead weight to get to that 5. And where the 5 is, you can't really use an edge of the 5 to play a carom, because you're going to just simply pot the 5. You can go 2 rails. Well, almost got it direct off the 1 rail. And this time Romario might play the 2 or 3 railer to the 5 ball off the 3 ball. That's one option. Not that there's an awful lot more options. Well, he looks as if he's wanting to go left side, but I don't fancy that myself. It looks as if it's got to be right side of the 3 ball. He's playing this with inside English to straighten up, and he's managed to pull the line there and hold the line to chip the 1. And that's a shot that you won't see a lot of players playing. That's one I play from time to time, where you're trying to manufacture the angle by straightening the cue ball using the inside English, and Romario used it well there. But many players who play Cowboy don't do that. They don't do it simply because they don't know, and that's one good bit of ammunition that Mario's got there, being able to create the angle to get the carom. And Romario into the caroms on 92. And this one ball is coming down adjacent. Now what can he manufacture here? Well, he's going to go side rail, a little bit of help in English to nudge onto the one. And I think he's okay for the next one as well. Just a feather edge. And he can probably, if he wants, draw to the one. He can even just go side rail onto that bottom rail. Hasn't quite got there, but he's preserved his points. We're all square, 95 all, and it's anybody's rack. I don't think that's going to get there, is it? It just has. It's just travelled enough. Just dead weight to clip into the 3. Well, Acero has the 3-railer to get to the 1. He's got to take the risk. He's looking at the 1. But it's got to be the 3-railer from the 3. And there's always a danger of scratching, but you feel that he's got to take that risk and make a shot like this. Didn't get there, but at least he survived. And he scored 2 points. Has the 2-point lead. Romario, the edge of the 1 to run over to the 5. Well, the obvious thing was going to happen there with that shot. So he's got the 5 back on the spot. It's in the game. Acero has a 5-3 carom. And he's just clipped the edge. Well, that's not a pretty position that he's got here. And he's tried to do the same as Romario by straightening the cue ball, and it's created the angle to give him the carom to the 3. That was a good shot. And Acero on 99. He can feather edge the 3 and drop down onto the bottom rail and try and just kick into the 1 or hit it direct. The angle's there to do it. Has he got it? No, he hasn't. If it had enough pace there, it would have got to the 5. So Acero tantalisingly close to the outshot. But is he going to get a chance at it? And this time, Romario's got to create one. Nothing obvious. He can play the 3-railer off the 5 around to the 1. He's trying to go inside again off this 1, hit the edge off the side rail and hit the 5, but he's missed it on the way up, and that has gifted Acero his chance. Now, he needs to get lucky here. He'll play the 3-5, 3-1 carom, but he needs to hope that 1 stays in play and leaves him an easy out if he can. This is where you just have to ride your luck. Now, how's his luck? Well, it's not too bad because he can try and draw off that 1 into the right middle to tie the match up. It should be fairly simple looking at it from the top view. I don't think that's difficult. That goes in every day of the week. Oh, he's over-stunned it, and he stunned it to the jaw. Would you believe it? He might not get a better chance than that one. Meanwhile, Romario's tried to draw off the 1 to the 5. He's missed that. Acero can play the force follow if he can pick the angle on this 1 into that corner pocket. This is difficult to read. And the other thing is you have to avoid the collision with the one ball again as it goes back up the table. He's trying to find a line. That looks like it. And that is a nice shot. And that has now squared the match up. And the match is still less than an hour old. And we're at 1 rack all. So important for Acero to get himself on the scoreboard and back into the match. And Romario has broke off, but he's missed the carom from the 1 to the 5. Well, that's given Acero an early bonus to put something in the scoreboard here in this third rack. And that 5 ball is not going to go in at that angle. So it's only 6. Easy 5 points. An easy carom to follow. Well, he could try and stun into them. That's what he's done. Risky, but he's got away with it. Well, stay in the bottom half of the table here. It'll give him a shot from the 5 to the 3. And now he should be getting that 3 on the spot, because again it leaves him an easy carom. The 5 is adjacent to the 3 spot. Well, that's not ideal. Little stun draw. Now, he can't see the 1, so he can't get the 1 on its spot, I don't think. Now, is he going to block that 3 spot? No, he's okay, and he's got an easy force follow, I think. Or maybe not. No. 3 won't squeeze past the 5. And he's totally misjudged that. But it's a good contribution by Romario. It's a run of 38. And it gives him a healthy little lead at the start of this third rack. Acero potting the 5. Possibly trying to carom into the 1. Hasn't got there. And this has left him nothing easy. Well, he's used the angles. Could have tried the 2 and 1 there, trying to hit the 1, and if he missed it, hitting the 5 as a backup, and he's got away with it. The 1 is now in play, and he should have the force follow from the 5 onto the 3, and right now he's off and running and can gather some points here. So this time, pot the 5 and stay in the top side of the table. That should be the shot, and then it should give him a choice of possible caroms from the 5 to the 1 or the 5 to the 3. Well, this is going to be slightly more difficult at distance to read this force follow onto the 3, but he's played it well, and that 5 needs to come across to leave him the pot. Same again, pot the 5, stay in the top end of the table and give yourself a choice. Well, it's going to be another tough one. It's at distance. These are not gimmies, these force follows at distance. But he's come in behind the 3. Not a bad outcome. Same again. Pot the 5. And all the time he's potting this 5. It's a quick way of building up the score. Now if he just gets over to the right, well, he's gone a wee bit further than he really would have wanted there. How's he sitting? And he's got the force follow. He can push the 5 behind the 1 and around the corner and go through onto the 1. But has he got a pot? Has he got a pot? He's going to have to pull 1 out because he's got nothing. And that's where you can easily go out of shape. He had to hit that a bit harder to get that 5 ball right around and back out into the table. And that's where it's gone wrong. So it's going to have to be the bank on the 1. And I think that double kiss there. And so Acero's run ends on 30. Romario still with a 5-point lead. Trying to draw off the 1 and carom the 5. He misses that, so now he has an easy carom anyway. Another simple one to follow. From the 1 to the 5, hoping to keep a ball in play for a pot, and he's got that, and now he should be top side of that 3 ball, because it then gives you that choice to play 5 to the 3 or 5 to the 1 or 3 to the 5 I should say. Mario's lead is building up. Can he keep the points? The run goes to 17, the lead goes to 22. Five ball going in as a bonus. He's going to have to pull out a pot though. But stay in the bottom side of the table or just killing the cue ball. We'll again set him up with a fairly straightforward carom. Either force follow 5 to the 3 or 5 to the 1. And once again, keeping the ball in play so he can pot the 5. And maybe just come up the table slightly. Well, he's gone right down the bottom to open up his chances, but that might not be ideal. Let's have a look. Well, he's okay. Force follow again from the 5 to the 3. And this is falling into place quite nicely here for Romario. He needs to remember his score though. It's so easy to get engrossed in potting the balls and making the caroms, but then forgetting about exactly where you are. He's on 83, the run is 42. And again, has to be careful he doesn't pot the 3. He's got it nice and thin. And he's also got the 3 to pot. Well, he's looking at the 5. That takes him on to 90. And the run is on 49. And now he's into the caroms. He's also got a shot either from the 3 to the 1 or the 1 to the 3. Well, didn't want to risk anything there, so the run ends on 51. So both players have had 50 runs in the match. And that's there's a standard you have to be getting to be a competitor in this tournament. Now, has he just chipped at 3? I thought I heard a noise. Yes, he did. So Acero is trailing by 50. Could come off the end rail in behind the 1. But you've got to pick the edge. Well, he's gone from the side rail. And that's now put the 5 ball out the game, as far as Romario's concerned. But he's managed to manufacture the carom from the 1 to the 3. He's going to have to do something similar here, but got to be careful. Using the rails and just misses the clip on the edge of that 3. So, open table for Acero, having made the pot and the carom. Oh dear. And it's another snatchy pot attempt on that 5. And the visit only gets him 6 points. Romario missing the carom. Didn't get enough spin into it. And Acero needs to look whether that 5 ball will spot, because that 3 ball's very close. And Acero's made a proper hash of that. And he's set up Romario with an easy starter here. I don't think that 5 ball would have spotted. Well, it's a run of 2. Takes him to 95. Acero way back in the distance. And that 5 ball is out of play at the moment in this bottom rail. Has to somehow take care of that. And he has a chance now. He can pot the 1. And he can try and play the carom onto the 5 if he's brave enough. But he doesn't look at it at all. Digs out another carom from the 3 to the 1. But if he can pot this 1 and leave the cue ball in the top half of or the bottom half of the table as we look, well, he's going. Oh, he's on a carom. That's why. Well, that's taking the 5 off the bottom rail, but more or less put it in the side rail, and he's missed the carom to the 5, and Acero back at the table. Romario's contribution is 1. Acero with nothing, easy to start here. And he hasn't picked a line off that 1. And Acero has stalled here in the 50s, and Romario is going to could play the little stunt from the 5 onto the 1. Well, he's actually drawn it. He had nothing else to work with there with the 5 hanging over the pocket. Acero can play the force follow here from the 5 onto the 1, the 3 onto the 1, and then he wants to get that 5 ball potted next. Or the 1, because that will leave him the easy carom. Well, he's not looking at it. The 3 ball is very adjacent to the 1 spot, and it would be ideal to pot that 1, because now he's not leaving himself anything really easy. Well, this time he's still not interested in potting that 1 and getting it on its spot. And this time it's going to have to be the 5 to the 1. He can play a draw shot from the 3 to the 5. And the 3 goes in as well, which is a nice little bonus, because that's now got 2 balls fairly close to one another, although Acero is going to pot the 5. He'll have that 3-1, which he may well kick off the side rail. No, he's managed to get it direct, but again, that was a danger. If he had gone off the side rail to the 1, that would have taken the scratch out of the equation, but he's hit the 1, and momentum on the cue ball has taken him in, and he's lost his points. And Romario back at the table, just chipping away on 98. Well, he's now put the 3 ball out the game for himself here. Oh, now had he just clipped that 1, he'd have been well out. He would have had the easy scratch off the 1 into the middle. Oh dear. Well, Acero has lost the plot there. Didn't make contact with the 5. Romario on 99. we've got to remember as well, though, that it's what time is it? It's 20 minutes past 4 here in the UK, and Acero is in Japan, and he's at least 8 hours in front of us, so it's well into the night. It's early Sunday morning his time. So it's getting late for him. But he's leaving himself a mountain to climb in this rack. Trailing way back on 61. And Romario just a couple short of going back into the lead. Well, cut the 5 in, get the cue ball over to the right hand side, avoid scratching, and that should give him a fairly straightforward carom to follow. Well, he spun the cue ball, and that's put him in an awkward situation. I think he can get the force follow on that 5 through to the 1. He's looking to draw, and he's still okay. Needs to keep an eye on his score. And that, once again, is not ideal. This is a dangerous shot if he's going to stun onto that 3. A high risk of scratching off it. And he's missed the carom. But at least he's preserved his points. So the run ends on 20. Romario, no score. Acero eventually gets a nice pot on the 3. Also the carom has the open table, so he can pot the 5. And has to get to 90 in this visit. No ifs or buts. He's got to get there. But he's in no pretty situation here. It's going to be the draw. Possible bank on the 3 as well when he plays this. So that now takes him to 87. And now he can pot that 3 to get him on to 90. Oh, it's just got in. Now, how is he sitting? Well, he's got nothing there. He's going to have to go off a rail to try and get to that 1. Trying to go off the bottom rail with a right hand English. Got to judge the contact. Yeah, got it too thick. Romario off the bottom rail, side rail into the 5. Well, he's hit it direct. And that's ideal, because it leaves him, well, as long as he doesn't get the double kiss. It's very difficult with that 1 ball being tight in the pocket. Just trying to skim off the edge. He's managed to do it. And that takes Romario into a 2 racks to 1 lead. And this match has been going on since probably between 5 and 10 past 3 when Acero turned up. So again, we're only like an hour and a quarter or just over that, and we've played 3 racks of Cowboy, so it's been moving quite rapidly. But Acero really needs to get something on the board straight away here. So important now. But having said that, he's missed the carom from the 5 to the 3. And it's only a visit of 12 points. And Romario going to have to manufacture one here again. There's nothing ideal here. Trying to go side rail direct to the 3. And his contribution is 17. On their day, these guys have as good a chance as anybody to win this tournament. There's no doubt about it. You know, on a good day, they can put substantial runs together. It's just how it all unfolds, how many scratches you can avoid while you're making a contribution and preserving your points. But either of the two of these guys are potential winners of the tournament, no doubt about it. Acero misses the carom again. And these contributions of 13 and 14, he has to up the ante as far as that goes, because he cannot afford for this to go deep into the rack and not still be with Romario. He has to still be there if he's going to take this to the final rack decider. And Romario goes into the lead. And he's going to have to make a pot this time. 5 ball down the rail. And he's overcut it. The pot and the carom give us an open table for Acero. And he still has an open table. Oh dear. And he's overcut that by a country mile. And once again, it's just a tiny contribution of 10. And only a slender lead of about 6 points. Well, there is a 3-railer from the 5 to the 1, or from the 1 to the 5. That's one choice. or 2 choices. But he's managed to pull off the pot on the 3. Going to have to pull off another one to make the carom this time. And he's managed to get there. And now he's going to have to make one again. And he's managed to do it. Picked that one out nicely. Well, a stun shot. Can pot the 5 this time. And then play from the bottom of the table up. Should give him a choice of shots. Well, that 5 ball is out the game there. Romario can't pot that. He's left with a toughie to keep the run going. And managed to pick out the pot. The run goes to 36. But the run ends on 36. But it's a 30-point lead for Romario. Well, that's going to bring the 1 into play. And now it's going a wee bit awkward. Can drop the 5 in to the right middle, but he's going to have to do something with the cue ball here to leave himself his next shot. And at that angle, he's not got an awful lot of options. Same again. Stunned down from the 5 onto the 1. And he's managed to reduce the deficit to just 2 points with that visit of 28. Oh, Romario has made a hash of that one. He's cut the one away from the rail and he's missed the carom, and that, well, that's a big incentive for acero to get to 90 here. It's a careless one from Romario. Acero's potted to 5 and he's going to have to create a shot here. A little bathroom break there. So, Romario sitting on 88. Now an 89. And as long as he pots the 1 and doesn't make another carom, he'll be into the caroms. He'll be on 90. And Romario breaks down on 10. Acero is still in this match. He's on 75 and has to get to 90 now. Managed to just chip the 3. Well, he's got to cut the 3 down the rail, surely, because it gets them all on their spots, more or less, I think. But he's now in that no man's land area, the dangerous area, to make the carom from the 5 to the 3, and he needs to watch he doesn't pot the 5. And this is, I think, what he's worried about. He's looking to try and make the carom from the 1 to the 5 off that side rail. And this time he's played it well. And now, well, there is a possible 2-in-1 shot here to play the 5 and go off the right side rail onto the, sorry, play the 3 and off the side rail. Mind you, he's on a pot, isn't he? And he's still only in 87. Well, now he's got to make the carom. Has to get to 90, so important. Trailing 2-1. He's got to be competitive in the caroms. Is he going to scratch? No, he isn't. He's still alive. Goes to 88. Now, can he see the 1 to pot the 1? Because that's his only option he has. I think he can. But it's not easy. And it's another one that's got away. And Romario comes to the table. Acero didn't get to 90. And that could be fatal, because Romario's got these balls gathered and trying to keep them as close as he can. And now he's going to be pushing the 1 over towards the 3 when he plays the carom from the 1 to the 5. So he may well be able to get a fair, substantial bunch of caroms here. And a delicate little draw with a spin, and just catches the edge of the 3. And now he can brush off the 1, roll onto the side rail and just touch the 3. As long as he doesn't hit it direct, he doesn't risk then knocking the 3 in. Well, he's gone to go behind it, which again was the safest route. Good thinking. And also, if he can see the edge of the 1, can play the carom to the 5. He's looking to go 5 to 1. Well, the double kiss has helped him there. That takes him to 99. And as long as he doesn't knock this 1 too far away, well, that might be dead. He's looking to scratch. Can he stun it in? This for the match. Well, no, he's going to go. He's going to. I'd have tried to stun. Well, he didn't fancy it, but that was his chance to win the match. And Acero has got to protect the 1 ball. That's really all he can do at the moment. He's got to try and keep that safe in an awkward place, because if he's going for a shot here, he has to simply get it. I don't think that's going to get there, is it? Yes, it is. Takes him to 89. The 90 will take him into the caroms, but has to be careful. You've got to think about protecting the one ball and making it awkward for Romario, because that's the only sort of lifeline that Acero's going to have, unless he can string out these caroms. And that just gets there. Should have another easy one to follow. He needs to watch the double kiss again here. Has to avoid hitting the 5 on the way back across. Oh, he's played that well, but he's missed the carom. Now, well, Romario, what's he going to do? He's calling the draw into the middle pocket for the match. And this time, no mistake. And so Romario has won out by 3 racks to 1, and in a match that was well shot, about an hour and 45 minutes for 4 racks of Cowboy, and that's probably the quickest of the tournament, especially with Romario being involved. So Romario is going to be the opponent for the winner of the match between Bakermaker and 9ball.com tomorrow night at 7:30, and that will refresh in a second or two and show that Romario is now through. It should update any second. Well, eventually. In fact, we'll refresh it and see what happens. There we go. So Romario lies in wait for the winner of that match tomorrow night. And if we look down here, we can see that Interchange X is through, because he got a bye. Vinces failed to turn up for their match. So Interchange X is already through to round 5. And he will be waiting on the winner of this match. So he's going to have a little wait for these matches to take place. And well, meanwhile, on the one-loss side, Casino Jim has now found his next opponent, and that's going to be Acero, and Casino Jim is going to be up against it in that match. It's going to be a tough ask to beat Acero, but he's got a chance. What else is happening? We've got Larry lined up to play Linus in the one-loss side tonight, and that's going to be at 7 PM. Race to 2, remember. And so the winner of that match will then play Zach on the one-loss side. I might well be at my dinner at that time. And so until we meet again, bearing in mind I don't think anybody was watching it, but you can always watch it again on my YouTube channel. So we will see you again soon.